Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Hippo Talk. So today we have a beautiful and very talented young athlete named Amanda. I'm so excited to share her journey with you guys. I am very impressed from what I see on social media. Not only are you in boxing, but you also just recently graduated or gonna graduate.
I graduated, yeah, from UTSA.
Yes. So, kind of tell me a little bit about you, where you from, how old you are and stuff, and we'll go from there.
Yes, of course. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you reaching out and thank you for all the kind words you said. I'm Amanda Sendejo. I'm from Floresville, Texas, so just south of San Antonio. Born and raised there, went to school there. I now live in San Antonio. It's where I train. I train out of Pure Technique Boxing. Graduated from UTSA this past August, and I work here in San Antonio as well.
That's so great. Tell me, how did you initially get drawn into the boxing world?
Definitely. So, I grew up with two older brothers. I'm the only girl, the youngest one. So, my two older brothers did it. So, they're a little older than me. So, when I was younger, I was just running around the gym, kind of grew up in a boxing family, just always around it. And my main sport growing up was basketball and cross country. So, that was what I did. And when I got a little older, I was probably about like 10 years old. I told my dad I wanted to box, and he had known already, like, what it takes to train and how much of your time and like dedication and sacrifice it takes. So he had told me no initially, and I was like, please, like I really want to do it. Like I just loved seeing my brothers fight, and I loved to see everything they did, and I just thought it was super cool. So he told me to stick to basketball and running and cheer just because he knew that if I boxed, that's all I would do was box, and he wanted me to continue doing stuff that I had done since I was younger, which was basketball, and I really loved. So finally, when I turned about, I think it was 17, I told him like, okay, I have my license, so I'm gonna drive myself to the gym, like whether you want to come or not. And of course, he was on board. I was old enough. So he was like, yes, of course, like we can start getting you into the gym. So I started at 17, had my first fight. And my timeline's a little different than a lot of boxers. I did start late, I guess you could say. A lot of people start when they're 9, 4 years old, like literally out the womb boxing. And I didn't start till I was a junior in high school. So started as a junior in high school, competed once, and then I didn't compete again because I was in basketball, cheer, cross country. So I kind of, my dad was like, finish out all of high school and finish off all your sports and everything you just love doing. And then if you want to, you can really just dive into boxing. So dove into that once I got to college. So I was probably about 20 years old when I started boxing again. And now I'm 23. So I've been on it for a good minute now.
That is very impressive because from people that I've talked to and people that I've interviewed, yes, I can agree. I feel like everybody kind of starts boxing at a very young age and it's kind of like embedded in them, right? So
Hmm.
it's awesome to see that you are, where you at right now in your journey and you are the one that started a little later. But with boxing, I know it's a high demand sport, not only physically but mentally. So as a young female in the sport, what are the biggest challenges that you have had to face?
I think being a female in a sport has definitely brought more upon like the already mental stress of just being a boxer and getting mentally right for a fight and just training all year long as an amateur too. As a pro, you kind of get those little breaks in between, but as an amateur, you're just constantly fighting, trying to get as much experience as you can. But while I was in school, I always had a ton of people that were like, you don't need a box, you have your degree, like you're smart, you kind of have a career path, like why would you choose boxing when it's not like an official, like you're not granted all the success you would as like with my degree, I can go get a job and like start making decent money. But I chose the path of being an athlete and training as an amateur and not really you don't make any money as an amateur, you're just competing. And so I definitely had a lot of challenges with people just telling me not to do it. Like the cons of doing boxing are like way up here. Why would you do it? And I just think this is something I really love, and the competitiveness I love of it. Just being able to truly be myself and be in a place where I feel comfortable is definitely boxing for me. And I'm able to like show other women, younger girls too, that like no matter how you look or where you came from, like you can literally do anything that you set your mind to. Boxing's all about all the work you put into it. And I feel like I'm definitely a hard worker and it shows in the ring, and that's why I love it so much and why I would never let anyone tell me that I can't do it.
Yes, I can see that in you, like, being a woman in general in any industry, sometimes it is hard, but to see that when you talk about boxing, how your whole face lights up and stuff, that's so awesome to see. Now, of
Thank
course, it
you.
is a very demanding sport. So could you walk me through your typical training day and how that is for you?
Yes, definitely. So, I go to strength and conditioning about twice a week. So those days I wake up around like 6:30, go and train, wake up, get everything I need to get ready, and I'll probably train around 7:30 to 8, get that little hour and a half in, and then I'll come home, eat, get everything I need, and then I'll go back to train at 1:30, have my boxing workout. And then usually these are my days off of work. So then I'll come home, do what I need to do, and then I'll go recover for the rest of the day because between working and training, I never realized now that I'm older, like recovery is super important. So I'll ice, do compression sleeves, stretch, all that good stuff. So that's a normal day off of work. And then when I do work, I work for the Spurs, so I work game days and office days, but game days are super long. So I'll go in at 10 and I won't get out till about like 11 o'clock at night. So I have to get my running and my boxing in before that. So I'll wake up around like 6 or 7, get all that in before I go into work at 10. So very just I'm very structured. Like I have a literally a calendar and I have to put all my stuff in there and I have to make sure that I plan like when I'm gonna work out, what I have to do before I have to work or all that good stuff.
Girl, I need those tips because it sounds like you're super organized and super structured, and I love that.
Thank
Now
you.
let me ask you a little bit about your college degree, and of course, you working for the Spurs. So overall, it seems like sports is really something that is your calling. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yes, I just think growing up, with 2 brothers, all we did was they were super big into sports, my dad, even, like, all my cousins surrounding me, mostly boys, all they did was sports, and I feel like that was just how, like, I bonded with all of them, whether we were just shooting hoops outside, literally racing in the pool, racing in the street, watching them play Madden, like, I was just always around sports, and I just think being competitive and being able to bond with people in sports is just something that really just like drives me. I can't explain it, but it's just sports are just I don't know what I do without them.
Now, because sports is a big thing in your life, are there any female boxers or athletes in general that have inspired you through your journey?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I certainly like idolize people, but I do see certain things that athletes do that I'm like, wow, like I really look up to them for that. We have a pro girl in our gym. Her name's Rihanna Rios. Really good, outstanding pro, and I just love her and respect her so much. I truly admire fighters that are humble and just train really hard and aren't out here like showcasing it to the world. Like you can tell they're just training because they love the sport and they're trying to do something with it. And I really idolize her for that. Sinisa Estrada, she's a very good fighter. I like her too because she really came from the didn't have a big name and really just made something for herself. Alicia Baumgartner. I really like fighters that didn't come from so much, like you didn't hear too much of them and then out of nowhere, they got these title shots, and I think that's just amazing to really just make a name for yourself as a woman.
I think that's very impressive. I'm of course learning as I'm going and meeting all these people in the industry, and I definitely think that the female boxers are really, really good. And I feel like you guys train a little more harder, um, because you guys not only have to prove to yourself that you're good in the sport, but you have to prove to everybody else too. And with that being said, do you think there's anything in your industry as a female boxer that needs to be changed so that more females feel supported in boxing?
Yeah, I wouldn't say changed, but I think everyone's kind of on the flow now. Like these bigger promoters are starting to sign more females and see that like, hey, like females can sell tickets, and they put in the work just as much as guys put in the work. We train just as hard, if not more sometimes, and it's just like I think we deserve to be in the space just as much as men. And then I think as a female fighter too, I feel like it's important to for us to remember that we are representing younger females, that look up to us and watch us. So I think it's important, like how we carry ourselves, what we do, what we post, just how we carry ourselves. I think it's important for females to be even more humble and even more just a good representation overall.
I totally agree with you. Now, boxing is a big mental battle as well, not only inside the ring but outside of the ring. So how do you cope with like the pressure of a fight or the pressure of training?
Yeah, the mental aspect is pretty crazy in boxing. Out of all the sports I played, this is definitely like it's crazy how much of a toll the mental takes on you, before a fight, after a fight, during camp and everything. And I just think it's important that you do have a plan going into camp and before your fight, like if I'm training for a fight, I'm not going to be out like with a bunch of people doing stuff that can really like distract me from my fight. It's kind of stay focused those couple of weeks before because whenever you're focused, you kind of have your goal. You can picture how your fight's going to go from start to finish, and you don't really have those outside distractions and noise just like in your head. So I think it's important just to kind of have a plan going into your fight, mentally, physically, just have it all laid out so that when it comes to fight day, you've already pictured everything, you've already mentally prepared yourself the weeks before, and yeah.
Now tell me, with what you're saying, is there anything specifically that you do that helps you kind of do that to prepare yourself mentally?
Yeah, especially like right before a fight, I definitely like to picture everything from start to finish, whether like the good and the bad. And it's kind of just like, I wouldn't say manifesting, but kind of just like really seeing yourself in the moment so that when you're there, you've already pictured it, so the nerves aren't as strong or they're not really like taking over like all the hard work you put in because I know there's times where like if you get in the ring or when I first started it's like you can be so in shape but if your nerves aren't controlled then you can literally be like not in shape. It's really crazy. So I just think it's being able to remain calm under pressure, and I achieve that just by picturing everything I need to do, focusing on what I need to do, what I've worked on in the gym, how my plan in the fight is and supposed to be, and yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about what your goals are now as far as like your titles that you're looking forward to reaching, your achievements that you're aiming for in the next 2 to 3 years.
So I did, as I mentioned, start out a little late as a boxer. So I'm definitely taking my time as an amateur. I've taken a couple years just to really get as many tournaments as I can in, as many fights as I can in. And a lot of people do go pro, once they're like 17, 20, and I'm already 23. So my plan that my coach and I have is to still wait out this whole year as an amateur, get as many fights as we can, and looking to go pro in the next year. So that'll be exciting. I think I'll be ready by then, and it'll kind of just be climbing the ladder to get a title shot.
That's so awesome. I can't wait to see it. I'm
Thank
definitely gonna
you.
be making it out to those fights because it is really exciting to see all of you put in so much work and then have it unfold. And it's awesome too to see because it's unpredictable. You can put in all that work and you still don't know what the outcome is gonna be. Um,
Yes.
Now, because you're a female boxer, what advice would you give young girls who are, you know, thinking of becoming boxers or are a little hesitant or, they're gonna get discouraged? Like, what would you tell them?
I think it's probably like the most simple thing to say, but it's literally just do it. And no matter what anybody says or what anybody tells you, if someone sees you spar and they tell you, you're not good or like you're a girl, you shouldn't be doing this, you should be doing something else. Or if they tell you you look a certain way, you shouldn't be fighting. Like I've had people tell me like your face is so nice, why would you want to get punched? Like I get that all the time. Or it's just little things like that. I don't think people recognize can actually like once you're hearing it over and over again can kind of be like, dang, like are you really on my side, And I just think as a young female that can kind of be detrimenting in a way. So I think it's important just to think that don't let the outside noise get to you. Like, if you're gonna do something, do it. And if you work really hard in boxing, it'll show regardless if you have the talent or not. If you put in the work, it'll definitely show in boxing. And You can be anything you want besides being a boxer if you just do it and don't listen to everyone else.
I agree. I agree with that. Now tell me, Amanda, because of boxing and how for you it's something that you love and now that you're beginning your amateur journey, take me back to the first amateur fight that you had that you won. Like tell me how that was for you. Tell me that experience.
Yeah, my first fight was super exciting. I had my little trunks. I wore purple, so we got them a little custom made. One of my relatives had passed away from cancer, and so we did purple. So I wore a purple tank. We put purple glitter stripes on the side. We had little shirts that had like her name and like the ribbon for cancer and everything. And I have a ton of family, so they all showed out. There's so many of them. I fought at Traders Village here in San Antonio. I was 17 years old and I had no idea what to expect. I was in shape just because of like cross country and basketball, but I had only been training, I think, for 3 months, like never put on gloves or anything, trained for 3 months. And they're like, hey, do you want to fight? I was like, man, sure. Like, throw me in there. This is what I want to do, anyways. Like, we'll see if I'm good at it. Right. And so I went in there and I just threw straight twos nonstop for I think it was 1 minute round, 3 1 minute rounds. And I ended up giving her an 8 count. I don't know if it was like one or two. And I ended up winning. And then at the end of the fight, I got most outstanding boxer. So I didn't even know what the award was. Like I was like so happy and they gave me um custom gloves and everything. It was just super exciting. And then after that, I had won, and I was just like, wow, like I can really do this. Like this is something that I had put so much work in just that 3 months. Like I had never like laced up before, but it was the fact that I had worked super hard. Like I was in the gym every day, trying to just learn as much as I could. And when I got in the ring, like I was tired, but hearing all my like fans and just knowing that this is what I like wanted to do, it kind of just pushed me to like really get in there and just kind of outwork the other girl. And she had more experience than me too, but I just think my drive was just a little more than hers. And that's really like why I won. I was able to just push through.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's so
Yeah.
awesome to hear. Now tell me, is there anybody in your journey that has been just a beam of light for you that has just continuously been that support for you?
Yeah, my family for sure, my dad and my mom and my brothers, my brothers having one of them competed and the other one just trained, but just seeing how like impressed they are with me because they are my brothers are my hardest critics ever since I was younger. Like they will not tell me like, "Oh yeah, you did great, little sis, like good job." Like no, they will tell me like, "Hey, you didn't look good in that fight," or like, "What are you doing?" or you need to train. You need to start doing this when you train. Like they're definitely my hardest critics. So my parents are always support me, and my dad will never sugarcoat anything either. So I think just hearing that they see something in me and they see potential in me, like that's probably the people I care about their opinion most. Like if they told me something that I didn't like to hear, I'd probably be sad about it. Like they're the ones that affect me the most. So being able to like hear my brothers say like, "Hey, like I'm glad you stuck with this. Like you can actually do something with this." So hearing that from them definitely like lights a fire under me.
That's so awesome. I love that you have such a great support system.
Yeah.
Now with upcoming events and stuff, is there anything that you're working towards right now?
Yeah, so I have a national tournament coming up in June. I did fight recently, like it's been the past 5 months I fought. I've had 5 fights in like the past 5 months. So I kind of just took this month to just train and not really have to like lock in for a fight or anything, really just take that mental break that I've been needing, and then I'll just start back up again here soon for June.
That's awesome. Is there any life lesson that you have learned in boxing that you have been able to use in your regular life?
Boxing definitely teaches a lot of life lessons, just between like meeting all kinds of people, working hard, staying disciplined. I think overall boxing has just taught me that the amount of work you put in is what the outcome is going to be. Like regardless if you win or lose, like when you work really hard in the gym and you train and you do everything in your mind and you get in the ring, even if you lose and you know you did everything you could, it's still you still get a sense of satisfaction like I did everything I could someone was just the better, you fought a more experienced fighter, whatever the case was. It's the fact that like you did everything in your power you could do, and regardless of the outcome, you still came back with something positive. So I think overall it's just the fact that anything in life, when you do something and you give it all you have and you do it genuinely and authentically, there's no wrong, there's no bad doing, there's no negativity at the end of it.
I love that. I'm sure somebody that's listening can take that in and kind of apply it to themselves. Now, when you're not training and you're not competing, what are your favorite activities outside of boxing? And what is more important to you to like balance between your boxing career and your personal life?
Yeah. My family for sure. I'm a big family person. They're my rocks. They're the ones who just keep me going. Everything I do is for them. So just spending time with them, like we don't even have to be doing anything. We can just be sitting there laughing, making fun of each other. Like it's just the little things for me. I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. I think just being surrounded by the people I love kind of just takes my mind off boxing of everything and just able to like soak everything in.
I love that.
Mhm.
Now, tell me, as far as you training and everything, is there anything as far as like a specific fighter here or anybody in particular that you're thinking of competing against?
Not necessarily, just kind of as a female fighter and an amateur at a low weight class, there's not too many girls in my weight division. So I go to nationals and that's when I meet up with everybody. So, boxing is one of those things, like, especially as an amateur, you see people come, you see people go. So there's not anybody necessarily that I would like want to fight or anything. It's just kind of fighting everyone as they come, climbing the ladder.
That's awesome. So tell me, of course, I'm kind of completely new to all of this. So how many fights are you looking to get under your belt to be able to consider going pro?
Yeah, I definitely would like by the end of the year, I would like to have at least 35, hopefully 40. I did start kind of late and I am a female, so it was hard to get fights. It's still hard to get fights without having to fight the same people. So I would definitely like 35 to 40 before I go pro.
Now, is there any plans for you to train outside of San Antonio, out of state, maybe?
Maybe in the future right now, I really have a good gym. I have a really good coach. We're both synced in, dedicated. We have a plan. And I just think all of that, like training outside of your home gym and stuff comes with when you get signed, promoted. It just depends like what happens. And that's in the far future for me. So not right now.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, as far as your plans for your career as in your degree that you studied for, are there any plans for that later on or
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to get my degree and just start off my career and at entry level, kind of just where like I do have my foot in the door with sports because it's one of those things that getting into sports or working for a pro team, it's really hard to get into. And I was able to thankfully and God willing get into working with the Spurs, which is something I always wanted to do. I'd always said it when I was in college, like I was like, dang, like my dream is to work for the Spurs. And it's crazy that I was able to do it, and just being there, working there, able to get my foot in the door, super thankful. And so I will not probably be doing that while I'm a pro boxer, but I will have that to go back to later on in the down the line because I don't plan to fight forever. I don't think any of us can fight forever. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I love that, and I hope everything works out for you. I see how much when you talk about boxing again, your whole face lights up and everything. So I know you definitely love the sport. Now, can you tell everybody where they can connect with you, where they can check out a fight that you have coming up or anything like that?
Yeah, so you can find me everything, Amanda Sendejo on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everything's just Amanda Sendejo. And I usually post all my upcoming fights, all the decisions, yeah, all my training, everything's on there.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk about your journey and talk about the things that you guys have up and coming for your fights, for your training and stuff like that. is there anything before we kind of take off that you would like to tell people? Like something that you find inspiring for you that has helped you throughout your journey? Any special quote or anything like that?
Yeah, so between balancing school and boxing and trying to get my foot in the door with my career, it was definitely like a really big struggle, and having family and support definitely helped me throughout. But my faith in God definitely was like my ground, you know. I try to pray as much as I can, and regardless of anything I do, I know that at the end of the day, you know, it's his plan, not ours. So talking to him, creating a relationship with God, and just realizing that, you know, we do only have one life and we're here to live it the best we can and to just do whatever you love, have faith and hope, and just pray.
I love that so much. I'm grateful that I was able to kind of pick your brain a little bit, and I definitely see you going far in your career. And I also see you not only being a pro boxer, but shining light into youth. Giving those young girls a good role model to look up to that are thinking about boxing. So congratulations on everything. I hope to
Thank you
see.
so much.
I loved hoping to see more of your fights. And then I'll have everything linked down below for everybody so you guys can connect with her. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.